Thank you. I guarantee that this will be a lively session with KK here. KK, Senior VP and CHRO of the Essar Group. Welcome to the platform here. Let's start with an easy one. For those that might not be familiar with the company, can you tell us a bit more around the Essar Group?
Yeah, I think today I've come prepared as well, see? So basically, we are a conglomerate present across India, US, UK, Indonesia, Middle East. So it's one brand, but multiple companies, multiple portfolios. So we are into mining, we are into refinery, we are into power, we are into ports. So varied sectors under the same brand. So we are into steel. So a larger entity across multiple continents.
Great. You've got over 30 years of experience in the people space and the HR space. What are some of the EX or employee experience trends that you're seeing, and what's important and resonates with you?
So my people experience, maybe it counts for 33 years, but I have been in HR for the last 16 years, basically. I was in sales and marketing and supply chain at my beginning of my career. But I think the difference I find, communication, I think that's one of the important thing across, I think whether I started my career in 91 to now, I think how do we communicate, how do you communicate at the right time? I think that's one important thing and aspect I've learned and tried to implement.
Great. Are there any particular trends that you're seeing in the people space that is most important or top of mind for you?
I think, we talked about the Gen Z, Gen X. I think they are much more open. They come out in terms of what they want, how do they want. They come out very clear. I think they have more clarity in their thought process, clarity in terms of what do they want. I think that's a big change in the current set of employees we hire. We go to the market every year. So the one with me 30 years, the one with 15 years, and one with 1 year experience. I think the guy with 1 year experience might be more clear in terms of, and they don't hesitate to tell the right thing or what they actually look forward to. Maybe we at times, we think over, we take it more, think of what the resultant can be because of we opening up. So at the current generation, I think they are very clear in terms of, I think the communication part of it in terms of the clarity of thought is much more there.
Sure. I guess that multi-generational workforce is really important, and making sure your message resonates with the different generations within the workforce is so important. Let's double click on employee communications. Can you share with the audience here today how Essar Group was communicating with their employees prior to deploying Workvivo? Like what was working, but why was a change also required?
I think somebody pointed out earlier in terms of we used to have an internet platform which was more limited, and the communication was one way. So it cannot happen. The communication cannot be one way. It has to be two way. So the email communication, there is always, like say when I said we have multiple companies, multiple entities. So what happens in Essar Ports is not known to somebody sitting in Essar Power, or what is happening in UK is not known to somebody sitting in India, or the vice versa. So the existing internet platform, we did have the communication space in terms of announcements but somebody will have to go there, and it is not an exciting space to look at. It's more like a message board, but nothing. So you need to go to different sections, and then there is nothing one-to-one, or if I have to communicate only to the power employees, is it possible in that platform? It was not available. So it was a platform open to all. Unless you go there and you need to search around, that aspect was there, and then the communication in terms of whether an employee can communicate through that platform individually. That was missing. So I think those are the things which made us change into a platform where we wanted to look at, as an employee, he comes only to one platform to do everything he has to do as an employee.
Great. Thank you. And I'd like to understand, and maybe you can share with the audience here today, like, why did you choose Workvivo? I understand as part of the evaluation, you looked at a couple of different partners along this journey. Meta was one of them, Sociable, and also your Oracle.
So we did Oracle, Meta, Sociable, and Workvivo. I think my team had a good team to assess. In fact, to figure out what we wanted to, which are the spaces we want to look at. And there was a input from the leadership in terms of this change we wanted. So the whole concept of having one platform originated from our leadership. That's where the origin of, then we searched around for what is the platforms available. And we did extensive research, we did extensive presentations from each of these 4 entities. So we had our internal assessments, and then we presented to a larger audience, which were consisted of the business people, as well as our corporate communication team, as well as HR and the technology team. So to be fair, I think the final 2 were Workvivo and Meta. So that this is final decision, and I think we decided maybe in a better sense to Workvivo. I think the overall input in terms of from the teams, what we got in terms of usage, in terms of the look and feel, Workvivo was there. It looked modern, it looked easier, and it looked appealing.
Great, thank you. And we have a lot of different organizations in the room today. What would be some tips? Because every company is at a different journey in terms of their employee communication strategy. Some might already use a platform like a Meta or Workvivo. Some are still using emails to communicate. Like, what tips do you have, if any, for stakeholders in the room to get their leadership on board on a journey to, I guess, more effective communication, a more modern way?
I think the biggest aspect will be to have your leadership on the platform.
Okay.
Whether it is, I think, when a communication comes from a CEO, it's more, received or it is read rather than somebody coming from an HR. So, like similar way, today we have as our HRMS platform, we have Oracle. So the leadership, everything happens through that particular platform. Similarly for Workvivo, although we are pretty new in terms of the implementation and usage, but the leadership is there on the platform in terms of using it, in terms of acknowledging people. So I think that's the biggest change.
Great. No, thanks.
So you need to make your leadership part of it. So don't do road shows, rather make the leaders get into this first before you start the road shows.
Great. And the Essar Group has now deployed the instance of Workvivo, and it's been a recent implementation as well. Like, what are the early signs? How was the experience working with the Workvivo team?
I think, to be fair, I think I've been part of 2-3 implementations in terms of the HR space, but I think this has been the best and the easiest one we could do in terms of working, in terms of integration, and in terms of the launch. I think the assessment to launch, we started the assessment somewhere in November, December of last year. And I think by January, February, we had decided on the partner. And I think post the finalization of the order, I think it was a 45-day period within which we actually went live. Somewhere in mid of April, we went live. 26th of April.
Great. I guess the importance of a successful implementation is also the efforts and the resources from your team. So I think part of that successful implementation was your team that was involved. They were very much, part of the excitement of launching and getting this out to your employees. So I think that's really important as well.
I think it's pretty much important because I think both ways. I think both the partners needs to be fully involved. And I think from our side, I think the teams which were primarily involved, that HR tech team, the HR team, the corporate communication team, the basic team who was supposed to be there, I think between them and the Workvivo team implementation, I think that worked together and they were fully involved with each other. I think that's where it led to us to do this in a short term. And there was no glitch. The day we wanted to launch, and I think it was like an instant one. So we announced it is happening, and I think within I think 1 hour, I think we were hitting more than 500 people on the platform.
And adoption so far? Can you tell us how adoption is?
I think our target was to do around 50% in the first month, I think, but currently we are almost there at 70% of adoption.
Wow.
And in terms of the mobile platform, we were looking at around 30. I think the mobile has reached crossed 50 as of today.
Right. Wow, that's
I
really
think,
good.
in fact, like say today morning, I received a badge because I got a badge because I'm one of the highest in terms of acknowledging people. And I'm actually competing with Mr. Krishnakumar because two of us and my CIO, that means the leadership is there. So that's the important part of it. So people are aware. And I think the launch to today, I think I got statistics with me. It's in lakhs now. So that's in just 2 months, less than 2 months rather.
Great, that's really good to hear. And one of the things that Workvivo is really proud of is the customer success and making sure that our customers are successful in their launches as well. I know that you've brought some team members along with you today. It'll be good as we break out later in the dinner and networking session. Will it be okay for maybe some of the audience to approach you and your team?
Sure.
Ask some questions as well. Oh, thank you very much. And I might ask, as Sashi comes on to prepare for the demo session, the live demo session, I think let's end on a lighter note, KK. I know I spent a lot of time in Australia, and what the Australians and the Indians are particularly passionate about is the cricket. India is going down to Australia for a 5-test series at the end of the year. What is your prediction for the results this year?
See, I'm always a big Indian fan, so 3-2 India, that's the point.
3-2 to India, okay. I'll make sure I circle back and see what the results are. But thank you very much for joining us on stage. It's always good for the audience to hear from a customer around their experiences, and it's great that you and your team have opened up to be approached by some of the audience today just to get a better understanding of their experiences with Workvivo.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.